Things are about to get messy, like super messy. Like the first victim to appear in this fourth case, she had the main character's DNA on her, which is impossible because the main character's not even roaming in his actual body, he's in a different body. But yeah, she had the main character's DNA on her. And like this could be explained when the main character bumped into her, like they bumped into each other while the main character was waiting outside for the male lead and he was holding the male lead's fish tank, but their plans for the male lead to move in with him got canceled. And when she bumped into him, she scratched him, and the male lead's apartment number was on her skin because the main character wrote it down so she could pay the male lead back for breaking his fish tank. But that part never happened. Like the main character moving in, the male lead moving in with the main character never happened, and her paying back the male lead never happened. The main character's, in prison because he's a culprit because his quote unquote DNA was on her, and he's being questioned, and like the childhood friend is just being kind of an a-hole over, like he is screaming at the main character, and the main character explained why the DNA could be on her because she ran into him, but the childhood friend is not even listening to the main character. He's not even letting the main character explain himself, and finally the main character just keeps his mouth shut. He's like, I'm not going to talk because you're not even trying to listen to him. Like the main character tries explaining why his DNA is on her and what happened, but like his friend won't listen to him, and when he tries to explain what happened that night also after the bar, because he left the bar after getting into a fight with the neurosurgeon, like no one's listening to him, no one's believing him. He's been in prison for days, and also like no one questioned the male lead because the main character literally was in bed with the male lead that night too. Like why is the male lead not being like, the main character, I found him at his apartment, had to take care of him, and we also freaked. Like why is the male lead not saying anything like this? The male lead's the only one that notices that the whole situation with the victim looks exactly like that of a serial killer case. And he's like, well, this looks like this, and goes to the main character's mentor, the childhood friend's father, and is like, hey, do you remember this case? Because the victim looks exactly like the victims from this case. I know the killer is dead, but the victims look exactly like his victims. And the mentor's like, go to my mentor. And like, so the male lead picks up the main character after the main character's, released from prison, but he's still suspect, so he can't be part of the case. They go to see his grand mentor, and they question him, and he leads them to finding out that there was a survivor of the case, and a survivor was brought to a hospital, and then to a nunnery, and they go to the nunnery, but the nun, the head master, the head nun, won't tell them what happened to the victim, where the victim is, but it's pretty obvious the nun has been seeing the victim, and they find out that there's a little death girl, and she knows who they're talking about, and they get her to draw a portrait of the girl because the head nun keeps an eye on the little girl because she's dead and keeps the little girl close, so she definitely gets to see the survivor much often. Yeah, so they get her to paint a portrait for them. So the woman in the portrait, she looks exactly like their forensic doctor, and it's insane now. Like, 2 people in their department has been accused of being culprits, being involved in the case. First it was the main character, and now it's the forensic doctor, the person who's dating the childhood friend. Like, oh, the stuff got messy. No surprise, because she doesn't want her past to be revealed. She lies and states it's not her. She is not that survivor. She's like, I don't want to bring up my past. Like, she doesn't really full on deny it, but she's like not admitting or denying to it. While on the case, well, he wasn't on the case, he was on a date with forensic doctor, the childhood friend, and they just left their date and was roaming about, and they come across Jane Doe being attacked by the culprits. And so the childhood friend goes and deals with the situation, and because of a noise he heard, he was distracted, so the culprit stabbed him and got away, and the noise that kind of distracted him was the forensic doctor going to the Jane Doe's side to check on her, so let the culprit get away. Not looking good for her. Not looking good at all. So the main character goes to the childhood friend about his girlfriend might being, a culprit, a suspect to the case because she might be the lone survivor. She is the lone survivor, and his attitude is 180. Like, he was shitty to the main character when the main character was, the culprit, but his attitude about his girlfriend being a culprit or being involved is 180. Like, he is dog eating the main character for even, suspecting his girlfriend just because she might be the lone survivor does not make her a suspect, and that the main character should respect her and leave her past alone. She has all rights to not want her past to be known, which he's right about. But like, he's also wrong for the fact that he's so shitty about doing his job. Like, oh, my girlfriend is not a suspect because she has this past. But like, treated the main character like shit when the main character had a bit of his DNA and like letters, like numbers on the girls. Is like, fuck you, dude. Fuck you. Fuck you. Before, the main character showed up, the nurse surgeon had gone to the childhood friend, the same nurse surgeon that was being weird with the male lead. He comes to the childhood friend, tells the childhood friend about the male lead's past, which is a tragic past. His like brother, mother, and father were murdered. Yeah. So when the main character appeared to talk to him about his girlfriend being a suspect, he eats the main character alive and reveals, oh, your boyfriend has a suspicious past. Your boyfriend must be something terrible because he hasn't told you about his past. And the main character's like, oh, I didn't know about that, but like, he can come to me sooner or later about it. Like, dude, there's a difference. Your girlfriend is involved in this case. The male lead's past is not. So fuck off. What kind of fucking friend are you?